I'm Teacher Robin. Welcome to another live streaming class. If this is your first time to join us, let me explain how the classes work. Today we're going to be talking about some differences between American English and British English. So if you have a question during the class, you can write your question in the comments section and I'll be checking your comments and your questions as we go along. Okay, so anything you want to know, anything that wasn't clear, or if you just want to say hello, you can write it in the comments. Okay, so this is a question that so many students have about, so what's the difference? Are they really that different, American English and British English? Yes, they are. There are quite a few differences, so we're going to go through some of the main characteristics, main differences between American English and British English. Obviously, I am American, but I'm going to try to show you so that you'll understand both of them, okay? All right, let's look a little bit at the history so we understand why these differences exist. Okay, so let's look a bit at the history. So the British introduced the English language to the Americas when they arrived between the 16th and the 17th centuries, okay? And at that time, spelling had not yet been standardized, okay? So people spelled things in different ways. So the first actual British dictionary was compiled by scholars based in London, okay? So the original English was the British version, okay? And then the UX lexicographer, okay? That's a long word, lexicographer, was Noah Webster. And this is where the Webster dictionary comes from. So people claim that he changed spellings to make American English different, okay? So let's look at some of these specific differences now. All right, first we have differences in vocabulary. So actually Americans and British people call things by different names. Not all of them, obviously, but here are some of the main differences. For example, in American English, your pants are called trousers in British English, okay? An apartment is called a flat, all right? A truck is called a lorry in British English. I would say I go on vacation. British English, they would say I go on holiday, all right? A sweater is called a jumper, which is something completely different in American English, okay? So a jumper for us is something that has two straps that girls wear that's kind of like a dress but with these straps on them, and a jumper in British English is actually a sweater. Okay, let's look at a few more vocabulary differences, okay? We have the sidewalk in American English and the pavement in British English. This is a really good one, these two here, chips and French fries. Okay, so chips in American English are called crisps in British English, and French fries are called chips. So these are two important differences to know, because if you go to a bar or a restaurant in the States and you order chips, it's not going to be the same thing as if you order chips in the UK. So you know, you're familiar with the term fish and chips, okay? This is what we would refer to in the States as French fries, okay? So be careful with that one, all right? Sneakers in the US are called trainers in British English, and the sport soccer is called football. Okay, so we don't use this term football because for us in the United States, football refers to American football, which is a completely different sport. All right, now let's look at some spelling differences between American and British English. Okay, in American English, verbs that end in EL don't tend to double the L in the gerund form or the past participle as they do in British English. So for example, the verb travel in American English, you would just add an ing to make it a gerund, traveling. In British English, you would double the L and you would add an ing. Okay, so something to keep in mind. Another spelling difference, words like color in American English omit the U, but in British English they keep it. So color in American English is C-O-L-O-R, and in British English it's C-O-L-O-U-R. Okay? All right, some other examples. Words like theater, which end in ER, tend to end in RE in British English. Okay, let's look at a few examples here. So we have fiber, ER, fiber, RE, theater, ER, theater, RE, center, ER, center, RE. Okay, I see we have a few people joining us. Ramon, Svetlana, and Paul, say hello. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope that this class is useful for you. I hope you're learning some differences to keep in mind between American and British English. Let's look at some other different spelling differences in these in American and British English. Okay, I see several people are sharing the stream with their friends. That's really good. That means that you find it useful, so I'm really happy about that. Okay, so words like license, which end in an SE in American English, tend to end in a CE in British English. Okay, so let's look at this. So American, a license, like your driver's license, ends in an SE, in British English, CE. Offenses, for example, or offense, ends in a C, and defense also ends in an S in American English and a C in British English. Okay, words that end in IZE in American English end in ISE in American English. So words like supervise, apologize, recognize, this would end in a ZE in American English and an SE in British English. Okay, now let's look at how we write the date. Okay, this is something that's really important because it can be very confusing and you want to make sure you know which one is the month and which one is the day. Okay, so in American English, we write it in the following way. First the month, then the day, then the year. In British English, it's the day, the month, and the year. Okay, so let's look at this example. American, let's say it's the 10th of December, for example. Okay, so the 10th of December would be 12 for December, and then 10, and then 19 for the year. Okay, so in British, it would be first the day, 10, and then 12, and then 19. Okay, so this can be very confusing if you don't know which format you're using. Okay, another difference is the way that we conjugate verbs with different with the past participle. Okay, so in American English, these verbs would be considered regular verbs, and they end, so you know, a regular verb in English ends in an ED. So these would be regular in American English. So like the verb to dream, you add the ED, dreamed. Okay, like I have dreamed, he has dreamed, etc. Learned, the same thing, ED, and dwelled, ED. Okay, but in British, these ED endings change to a T. Not all of them, but there are many exceptions. Okay, so dreamt instead of dreamed, learnt, and dwelt. Okay, so keep those in mind. Both are correct. You can use either one. Both are acceptable. Okay, so we've just gone through a very quick overview of the differences between American and British English. Obviously, I have not covered all of them, but I want to practice together what we've learned today. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can write your answers in the comments. Okay, so I have 4 words and 1 date here, so I want you to tell me, are the following in American or British English? Okay, so number 1, theater with the RE spelling, is that American or British? Okay, center with the ER spelling, is that American or British? And learnt with the T ending, is that American or British? And to express the date, May 5th, this 5/12/19, is that American or British? Okay, so write your answers in the comments. As you are doing that, let me tell you about our course. I see several more people have said hello. Geraldine, Edson, Susie, Farhan, Dan, and Syed, I hope I said everyone's name right, are saying hello. So thanks for joining. Be sure to write the answers to my questions in the comments. Okay, let me tell you more about our course. So ABBA, did you know that ABBA actually stands for American and British Academy? Okay, so that means with our course, you will learn both American and British English. Okay, so we'll teach you all of those differences as you go along. Okay, so if you are not currently a student with us, I highly encourage you to go to abbaenglish.com and check out what plans we have available for you. So we have a complete course from beginners to business level, and our course has 144 units. Each unit starts with a short film about everyday life, and then you have a video class explaining the grammar, and you have exercises covering all of the 4 skills: speaking, reading, writing, and listening. Okay, so it's very complete. The course is available on web and mobile versions, so you can take it with you wherever you go. If you're going on vacation, you can study from anywhere. Okay, so it's very flexible and it's a great way to improve your English. So check that out, abbaenglish.com. I've just been told that we have 180 people watching. Okay, so great, that's wonderful. Let me just give you a few more tips, resources for studying with us. In addition to our course, we have our blog, which is called our ABBA Journal. There you can find articles about anything you could possibly imagine related to English. So we have more grammar explanations, we have more differences between American and British English, we have things like topics for travel, business, so really anything that you might need, you can find on our blog. And we're available on all of the social media networks, so Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Check those out because we're posting new content on those channels every day. Okay, so now I'm excited to read your answers. Okay, N.D. Obad, okay, I hope that I pronounced that right. He has shared his answers with us. All right, let's see. Okay, he says British, American, British, and American. Okay, I am not going to give you the correct answer right now. I'm going to let more people write in the comments, and then after the live class is over, I'm going to post the answer. So tune in. As soon as the class is over, I'll let you know if you got it right. But thank you so much for participating. All right, let me tell you what we're going to be talking about next week. Okay, we actually did a poll on our Twitter page, and we asked what topics, what themes you'd like to cover in during the month of August. And so the highest voted topics were travel and grammar. Okay, so we're going to alternate. So we'll do 1 week travel, 1 week grammar. Okay, so next week we're going to talk about how to book a holiday accommodation. Okay, so some really key questions that you might need to ask about your holiday accommodation, your hotel, your Airbnb, some things that you might need to know ahead of time to make sure that you have the best vacation possible and there are no surprises. Okay, so tune in next week for that one. I see more people have written in the comments. That's great. Again, I will correct your answers as soon as the class is over. I just want to give everyone a few more minutes to check. And again, if you have any other questions related to American and British English, feel free to write it in the comments, something I didn't cover. I see we have a comment from Deepak. He says he's watching from Kathmandu, Nepal. Okay, in my country, we grew up learning British English. Okay, so that really depends on where you grow up, what kind of school you study at. Okay, he says because of the global influence of Americanism, people in my country love American English. Okay, well, it's good to, obviously sometimes people have a preference, one accent over the other. Okay, he says he loves the British accent so much. That's good. The best thing to do is maybe pick one and stick with it. That way you sound consistent. And the best way to really improve that accent, let's say if you like the American accent, watch American TV shows. If you like the British accent, watch some British TV shows or listen to the radio or podcasts. And that way you can really start to sound more like a native of whichever accent you might like. Maybe if it's even Australian or South African. Let's see who else. Okay, Asako says, I like this live lecture. Thank you, from a Japanese student in Singapore. Okay, so that's really nice to see that we have students joining us from all over the world. Thank you again. So if there are any more comments, I think there might be one more. Yes, Leanne, Catherine says you don't sound British. Well, as I said at the beginning of the class, I'm American, so that would explain why. Okay, and I'm not going to attempt to do a British accent because I wouldn't do it very well. Okay, so thank you again for all of your comments. I will post the answers to the exercise in just a minute, and I will check all of your other comments or questions that you might have. So thanks again for joining. Watch again, same time next week. We'll be talking about how to book a holiday accommodation, and have a great rest of your week. All right, see you next time. Bye.